So, Zulika, thank you very, very much for talking to me today in this real estate inspiration webinar from good to great. I'm going to start by asking you, what drives you? What keeps you going when things get tough?
Well, it's nothing flashy. You just need to obviously learn to adapt to tough times when they come about. And it's not something that comes instantly or naturally. I think people want to naturally, go away from the tough times. But I think, when somebody puts their trust in you, I take that very seriously. So you've just really got to show up and figure it out and make the deal go through. There's no other option because you've got people relying on you.
I obviously am a business owner, so I do have employees that look up to me. So I always have to be on my A game. And then obviously I have children, I have properties to maintain. So there's so much that keeps me going every day.
We are very goal set orientated. So you won't believe our goals drive us.
My grandma was one of the best agents in Hansbaai, and just to think of how she was, that drives me to be just like her. So that's what drives me is my grandma.
So definitely family. I have a strong family support backing me, and obviously my drive is obviously my wife and my kids. The other thing is also seeing clients happy, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with one of the biggest, most emotional transactions they will ever conclude in their life. So yeah, that I think is an exceptional privilege for us to be able to be a part of.
So, Megan, how big is big? I mean, how good is good? You are now what, 22, you told me, 22 years
Yeah.
old? And what is your, if I may ask, what is your personal income per month in commission?
Well, I'm going to start by saying it is a small town. It is a secondary market. We don't have those high-end properties. So to be quite honest with you, I would say around 80,000 to 100,000. That's the going rate.
So for us, at the moment, our goal is 450,000 a month. That is our monthly goal.
On a commission point of view, I average anything between 1 million to 2 million rand a year. That can obviously be anything from a 300,000 rand a month paycheck to maybe some months earning nothing. But that's something I do like, because it teaches us to be disciplined with our money and planning, which I think is necessary for anyone in this industry.
I, in the beginning, was very willing to take low commission just to get the deal done. But we do so much for our clients that I see the value in ourselves as a company, the value in ourselves as people, and the service that we offer. So I'm very much, I lean towards a higher commission. So I try and take 7.5% plus VAT where I can. There's a lot of sellers that actually see the value in that service, and they do give it to me even on an exclusive mandate. So I'm not in the business of going in low just to get the business. I will try always and get a higher commission, and I think we are worth it. So my big at the moment at where we are is 3 million commission turnover in a month. Myself, I would like to push for 6 deals a month, and yeah, that to me is my big at the moment. But I think it's gonna get bigger.
So it's not just volume for me, it's also loyalty, getting referrals and that type of thing from clients. But with regards to transactions and volume, I'm always aiming to do about 4 to 5 transactions a month. So my aim at the end of the year is to do 50 plus transactions.
There's so many people saying, oh, but the market is low, things are tough, people don't want to buy, people don't want to sell, it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, and the so-called the market is down.
I hear that from a lot of agents. I don't experience that myself, but personally, I have a different way of working. So I'm constantly canvassing. I am up every single day. I work 7 days a week. We show every single weekend. So I'm never quiet. I don't understand when an agent tells me they're quiet.
The thing is, we all have seasons. Every year has a season, every individual has a season, and we are all in different season at different points in our life. So with regards to setbacks on the market, you just have to keep on persevering and being persistent and doing what you do best. At the end of the day, my initial focus is stock, and as long as you have the stock, the sales will come.
Is there anything that gets you under? Your biggest challenge, something that you really, really don't like doing as a property practitioner?
It's very hard to pick up that phone and cold call, but it is essentially what it's standing between you and a 500,000 commission. So that's how I see it. It's the cold calling that is the hardest, biggest mountain in front of me, but I just do it. And the doors just open. It's how it is.
Obviously, making those hard telephone calls, perhaps telling a client that a client has withdrawn his offer. Another hard one is obviously dealing with the emotions of sellers when there's been the loss of a spouse, or they're lonely and they're sick and now they need to sell, and you have to help deal with those emotions and getting their mindset right to make the next step in their life.
Let's see, to be successful, you need to not only have the skills and knowledge, but the right mindset. What are the top 2 to 3 habits that have contributed most to your success?
Yeah. Consistency. Consistency, there's a lot of up and downs, knowledge, and just to go, just to keep on going.
My habits is the first one is having a morning routine, to like set yourself up to have that morning routine every day. And then the other thing is to answer your inquiries that you get from your clients as fast as you possibly can.
So I would say definitely consistency is key. Perseverance.
Consistency and not having a corporate mindset. Sometimes you need a little bit of a corporate mindset, but not having that. And then just waking up every day, showing up. That is my main thing. You just need to show up every single day.
Well, a habit is something that you continually do. So consistency is the one thing that I think a lot of people they just don't follow through on it. So they'll try something, it doesn't work, then they move on to the next shiny thing. That doesn't work, then they move on to the next thing, instead of grinding through and trying to make it work. So consistency is key. So if you've got something that works for you, you keep doing it and you go back to your basics. And people don't actually understand until you do it for yourself, but consistency is key. So whether it is with your marketing, whether it is with showing up for work every day, whether it is for getting dressed, putting on the makeup when you're not feeling that great, that is all consistency. So, and that goes hand in hand with systems. So you need to have a system in place as well to help to keep you consistent. And I think that's what works for us. I don't rely on myself because then the emotions get involved. So you have to have a system in place.
Well, let's talk about those emotions because, I mean, the market goes up and down. People disappoint us. How do you handle rejections and setbacks in the market? How do you handle it when a transaction falls through?
Can I say something in Afrikaans?
You can.
So something I learned a couple of years ago was ons hou begrafnis en ons kom oor dit so gou as moontlik. So you just have to
Yeah, so a direct translation would be, have the funeral, get over it, put your shoes on, carry on.
Yes, exactly. So it's not obviously being callous or insensitive to anybody, but that it just is what it is. It is like having a funeral because I take my work so seriously, and I lie awake at night worrying about my clients. So really that it must go through. So when it doesn't, and when you've got to make those hard telephone calls, You've just got to do it and knuckle through and get over it and get past it as quickly as you can, because if you dwell on it, it will bring you down mentally, because that's the one thing that will get you up in the morning is your mental preparedness. And just go and find the next one.
So I obviously take steps back. One thing I do focus on in my business is the relationship, because at the end of the day, it's not just about money and turnover and quantity of deals. It's about dealing and having a deeper connection with clients.
So I give myself 30 minutes to an hour to mope what I just lost, but then I just jump right back into it and try to get another buyer for that property. So I give myself time to be sad about it, and then I just go to the next.
And handling rejection, yes, we do get rejected. I in the beginning it used to get me down for a few days, but I do move on very fast from rejection now. I do try and obviously overcome the objections and see how we can structure the deal or get the deal across the line. But if there's nothing I can do, I walk away, because at the end of the day, if it's out of your hands, it's out of your hands.
Oh, I start screaming.
For how
No.
long?
I allow myself a pity party. It's one of those things. That's why mental fitness is very important. In the beginning of my career, it was a bit more difficult, but later on, you start, kind of to learn, go to the flow. You must also fight for your deals. You must see what you can do to keep your transaction alive. But if it cannot, you know what? We walk away.
Trying to put yourself in the people's shoes, that this is also happening too. Remember, we are a part of that whole cog.
But I also think it's important for somebody to change their own mindset, because motivation can't come from the outside. Motivation must be an internal thing that gets you up and going in the morning. As estate agents, even if you're working for a company, you're running a business within a business. It's your business. You can't wait for somebody else to motivate you. You need to motivate yourself.